in a bright Saturday afternoon when guests with full stomachs and sore feet fell out of the affiliation-only alumni club in the heart of Manhattan. We walk west on 50th Street when some catch a cab. I have a theater ticket for a play at 7:30 tonight about the difficulty for a woman to find a man. Manuel's not going, although he does want to be alerted of future plays centered around men's struggle of finding a woman. I promised him I would, then walk on by myself to the theater district blocks away. After the show, I trek east along 42nd Street to catch the N train back to Queens. The streets are teeming with people, and the air feels heavy despite the occasional breezes at 10 o'clock at night. I stop at a tiny deli without a deli counter and pick out a bottle of Diet Coke. The next thing I know, I get into a conversation with the man behind the high wooden homemade counter, looking to be in his 30s, of South Asian heritage of sorts. He mentions that he lives in the heart of Brooklyn, somewhere near the Prospect Park on Ocean Avenue. I know where that is. I'm a taxi driver. I burst out my profession without second thoughts on an eventful day in every way except professionally. You are a what? A huge surprise soon covers the man's sweaty face under the bare light bulb of this shop, as if he just came upon a tale he's never heard of in his life. A scene from Memoir of a Geisha pops into my mind when the protagonist geisha meets a woman of some social status for the first time in a cocktail party-like setting and reveals her profession or former profession. My memory of that memoir blurs a little when it comes to that timeline. You are the woman's voice trails off, substituting prostitute for geisha in her head as her smile turns in an almost forced slow motion into a curl at edges on both sides of her lips. What word does this deli attendant or deli owner, for all I know, substitute in his head for taxi driver? Could it be the same as the P word or sex worker, as the word devolves into two words in 21st century lingo? That the one-time geisha, whose life captured by an American author she trusted and consequently shed light on the centuries-old profession in Japan, little known to the West, was trained to believe after seeing the vanishing smile of a noble woman. Not facing a nobility and not in an ornate party space as a geisha about a century ago, I get so taken aback by the deli attendant's reaction to my beloved profession in that airless, non-franchised convenience store with cartons of drinks stacked in one corner of the narrow passageway, that I forget seeing the South Asian immigrant's lips turning at their edges on his shiny, sweaty, 30-ish looking face. If so, how abruptly.
The end.
I begin my day. Sound enters. I'm on the island on both of these. I'm in the Greek islands. Sound enters. Mumbled words, a pigeon perched somewhere on a wire, a truck. Toes to fingertips. My body yawns, shifting muscles against bones. Inhale the morning. Blood and breath assert themselves like a song from distant trees somewhere near the beach, which is the pulsing of my heart, waves on sand. There are fish glinting, lingering, gone, then light. The world reclaims its edges, and the multiple domes of earth from my fingertips and head to flowering shrubs, orange trees, the half halo of the sky. Before I set my feet on the cool floor and rise, before I make the choices that color each day. This is the way of the Buddha. This is the way of the baby, the bride, the priest, the herdsman, the engineer, the astronomer, the familiar old body. I think as I sit on the throne, as I piss and shit, a healthy animal, my summer body. And I thank all the gods, Hashem in the temple and in the wild pantheistic gardens of Greece, even the ones whose names have been lost. And the next poem is called On the Island. Again, you know, on one of the Greek islands. The work begins at sunset. Adeptly folding clumsy beach chairs, stacking them in clean, neat, girl-made rows to parallel the broken shore. They tidy up the sand, cutting beer cans, water bottles, an odd pail, shovels and rakes, folded newspapers, a stray beach towel, making the old world new again. The lovely teenage elves who appear at dusk like the shoemaker's helpers to provide a benevolent providence in an imperfect universe on its vacation. They have only secret names. They require neither admiration nor interest. They are grateful for their appointed rounds, their summer refuge. They restore our old faith, the city of welcoming chairs, the shade of lazy umbrellas.
And so this one is a draft, and I'm calling it right now Tragedy of the Cicada, but that can change. The world became quieter in late August, winding down from the Memorial Day rush and early summer energy. Liveliness of beachgoers bustling from Brighton Beach train station with coolers, umbrellas, sandcastle buckets, and shovels. Boombox music and dancing in the street. A parade. Families, couples, babies in strollers, and teens walking down Coney Island Avenue toward the boardwalk. Many colored languages, hairdos and styles, big gold hoop earrings, string bikini top, and short jeans. Athletic striped knee-high socks and Converse sneakers, flip-flops, and jelly shoes. In August, the cicada song means the end of summer has come. Its percussion-like shake ignites fear and dread, Medusa's rattling tail. This loud, imposing, foretelling, and hidden creature in my tree. Unseen, this messenger of gloom, and how all good things must end. Gone the endless races to the end of the block and into the sea, chasing after the ice cream truck and passing time scraping scabs off our dry and bruised knees. The evil cicada, who obviously hates children, declares summer's end, and the season of sadness begins. My 8-year-old heartbeat slows down, sinking into melancholic thoughts of early rising for rushed breakfast, runny eggs and dry butterless toast, groggy-eyed dressing into the ugly green parochial school uniform, daydreaming of the beach, warm sand, shock of cold ocean water, salt stinging, making my eyes red, looking for mermaids, eating mommy's fried chicken and arroz con gandules. I asked my father, hot-faced and near tears on the first day of school, why does the cicada have to sing in our tree? No response. Slamming the front gate, looking up at the elm tree, already looking cold, leaves floating down into dark soil. I hate you, cicada. If I ever find you, I will kill you. What are you doing, pendeja? The neighbors are gonna think you're crazy. Go to school. Mommy sticks her head back into the window. Taking Daddy's limp hand into mine, walk into my season of sorrow. Sister Mary Catherine, her ruler, catechism class, note passing, math or foreign language, and cafeteria food, murder burgers and suicide fries. My first Brooklyn apartment, early 20s, a creature flies in through the kitchen window. My boyfriend left, alone, panic. He once rescued me from a trapped mouse driving from Harlem to Sunset Park, and I didn't put out. Grabbing the broom, swat, scream, swat, scream, swat, scream. A dark form rolling down the kitchen curtain onto the floor, plop, dead. What is this? I cry. The plump body, greenish black gossamer wings, beetle-type butterfly, horrifying creature, yet mystifying. My heart and blood pumping, throbbing, adrenaline shaking. My life energy exploding. Silence in the kitchen. Lifelessness on the floor. Creation assaulted and murdered. Summer's end, mournful song.
A portrait of the artist as a young woman. 159. When I was in middle school, they called me 159, a name drafted by the scale. Among the 90s and 100s, I was the only 159. To those who live by numbers, I was fat and ugly. To my friends, I was at least a nice person. To the boys I liked, I was just a friend because they liked leggy 110, cute 115, and 00 of Troy. To the weight loss commercials, I could be sexy and happy, just like those thin women in bikinis, if I just dropped to the magic number. To my parents, I was beautiful, smart, and so much more. If only I weren't 159. The mudflat girl. She's the mudflat girl with no name, no face, no feelings, no expression, no voice or movement. She sits, leaned back on her hands, with her hair blown in the wind, waiting on the bottom of trucks and takes their dirt. Her hourglass figure, a shadow paper cutout of the American exotic dream, an iconic Barbie silhouette by the projected image of the perfect woman. Red signature. Many girls have their papers ready for Mother Nature to sign her name and recruit them into womanhood. But I didn't have my papers ready that day when she took me into her office stall where she signed her name in my red ink on an illegitimate purple contract made from 100% cotton. Next to her red signature was the date, October 19, 2005. With this one-sided negotiation, I enter a new stage, the beginning of womanhood. Many cycles later, I could audition for the roles of a lover, wife, mother, or any other role the director wants me to play. I could listen to the harsh reviews of the critics, get slandered by the audience, and pushed around by the other cast members. Or I could turn down their offer and choose to be me. I may not have control over when I become a woman, but being a woman, I make all my choices, period. Thank you.
This is Flight of the Globules. God, how long is this flight? I need to stretch my spikes. Thank goodness this lady hasn't been sleeping since we left Rome. It's been nice and easy breathing. We haven't lost too many of our cohort. Hey guys, wake up. All right, look alive everyone. We still don't know where we're headed, but be ready to deploy at a moment's notice. We've all done a stellar job by infecting Europe. Fabrizio and Francesca, you turned Tuscany into an ICU. Manola and Marifer, you stampeded through Iberia like the bulls in Pamplona. Mo Chao and Rushi, you've been a true inspiration to all of us. Your daring escape from Wuhan and trek across Germany and Sweden on that backpacker will be taught in classrooms someday. To the rest of you, our time is now. Whenever we end up landing, our mission remains the same. Spread and infect as much as possible. Hey, you up there in the nostrils. Quit looking at her tits. Any sign of our destination? I can tell we're descending because our host keeps swallowing and trying to pop her ears. You see anything? An island? It's long? Another island between two rivers in the landmass? Start spreading the news. New York City, here we come. Welcome to Newark. You gotta be kidding me. Okay, stay together, kids. We're getting on the train. She must have got a deal on tickets. We're headed for the city. Oh, there goes your mother. That's okay. What? You've been alive 3 days. You hardly knew her. I hardly knew her. Look at that, Times Square. They say the neon lights are bright on Broadway. Okay, remember, when we get on the MTA, try to spread out as much as possible. If you can find a nice tourist who'll be back in New Orleans for Mardi Gras next week, or some crazy yelling homeless person, the better. Don't cry, Joey. It's time to be a man. Go out and wreak havoc on the community. You see, there goes your sister. She's going to spread and transmit and debilitate and kill like the best of them. One of these minutes, you two will go out on your own and make a name for us. Just look at all these poor, dumb, unsuspecting schmucks in these tiny, confined spaces, packing themselves on the elevators, bending to avoid armpits on the trains, and living and working on top of each other like a bunch of self-centered metrosexual cockroaches. Throw the racial and economic inequality into the mix and you got yourself a perfect breeding ground for a pandemic. Their leader is calling it a hoax. We'll show them. Uh-oh, sneeze alert. It was nice knowing you, Joey. Farewell, cytokine stormtroopers. Let's make this the epicenter. In 3, 2, 1. Achoo! Joey, we made it. Us and 47,863 others. Where are we? A kid. And here we go in his mouth. Snot-nosed little punk. Let's go find Grandma. Oh, look, another train. Westchester, what the fuck? Oh, a wedding. They're lifting him up on chairs and dancing. Holy shit. Keep yelling, you little brat. Booby! Joey, we've got this old bag on her knees. Be prepared to go to the hospital. Remember, they don't understand yet how to contain us, so jump ship when you can. Here comes a cough. Floaty, float, float. Latch onto this nurse, Joey. Hold on for dear life. Here she goes. Reaching for the phone. Infected! Just wait for the shift to end. All right, she lives uptown. Let's see the sights. Bodega, restaurant, train, bus. Pick up the kid in daycare. A full day. Joey, it's time. Go find yourself a nice hedge fund manager or a bus driver and fuck up their world. She's about to blow any minute. I love you, Joey. New York, a hell of a town. The Bronx is up, but the battery's down. The people ride in a hole in the ground. New York. Bronx to Midtown, to Brooklyn, back to Manhattan, Queens, to downtown, to Brooklyn, and back to Manhattan. Up and down elevators, 47 coughs, 32 conversations, 2 sneezes, 3 kisses, 1 really good. They were both men, I think. Pat train to Jersey. Bada bing, bada boom. Newark Airport again? Must have got a deal on tickets. Another flight, sheesh. Not so long this time. Where's this geezer going? Wow, nice weather. Look at all these fat, white, stupid, out-of-shape old birds. This is going to be easy. No wonder so many New Yorkers end up in Florida. End.
Inspired thought off of other poems. So there are 2 here. I'm going to read 3. They're all like definitely they're like 1 page each or less. So this one is after, I hope I say this right, Desiderata. That's a famous poem, especially in the 70s. Desiderata. And it's after that, and it's called After Dorothy's Kansas House. Find your house and give them a key. Find your place and then tell them to have a seat. Find joy and then tell them to follow you. Find your mind and then tell them you've set it free. Find the room, the place where you meet them. Light your match, set to destroy. Find your mind, now it has no meaning. Find your house. When it sets down again, find hope. In it is the adventure. Find your peeps. Agreement is essential. To be continued because the story has not ended. That's number one. And this one is The Promises after Rumi. Rumi, the poem is about death, so I can't remember the title of it right now. There is no death, only others who can care afterwards. For me, I am not alone. Someone's here, I close the veil. I point to the map. In my review, cakes from all the years, a recipe of endless caresses. Those memories fade into darkness and smile back. I won't forget. Now there is only the earth, the place where I always was, but never exactly cared for. I reach for someone and find myself. I feel alone. The harvest waits. I plant the seeds. Empty spaces fill the void. What are these for? They are the promises. And one more. This is after Edgar Allan Poe's Alone, his poem Alone. It's called As Others Are. I haven't been as others are. I never found a click. What will I be? I raised my hand in class. Efforts to be there were unreceived. I changed that room 3 times. I found the place. It was set for me, indeed. The classroom I was immersed in was in the theme of degradation, received. My favorite place was music class. My tone was always higher. They whispered, too many needs. I learned to love alone. I had to increase my standards, not seen. I wanted to report myself. My English teacher claimed, no progress. I hid inside my self-styled status, tyrannized, socialized, brutalized, terrified. I wait. I raise my hand again. Will someone hear me? I am alone.
I wrote a one-act play, and it's called Planning Ahead. And this is being recorded, right? So, whoa, okay. The characters are Cheryl Merriweather, a Jamaican woman about 50 years old, and Abe Schneiderman, a Jewish man about 85 years old, and they're both wearing face masks. The setting is a street in Dyker Heights, Brooklyn, the summer of 2020, weekday afternoon. Cheryl is walking alongside of Abe, who uses a walker. Watch yourself there now, Mr. Schneiderman. You're coming to a curb. Eh? The curb, Mr. Schneiderman, the curb. You've got to watch your step. No going and falling again now, shall we? Not if you have anything to say about it, that's for sure. Now here we go, that's right. Take it carefully. Come right up here where there's a slope. You can walk up here slowly. I've got it, I'm telling you. I know what I'm doing here. I've walked this way, the same street nearly every day for the past 60 years of my life. That's right, Mr. Schneiderman. You are a man who knows your way. Why, you are practically the mayor of 13th Avenue. Been here since 63. Come here, help me. This thing seems to be stuck. What's the leg of this damn thing hitting here? The blasted, screaming green tennis ball Sari had you put on the bottom of it is stuck on something. Oh, it looks like the city has done some renovating on some of the corners along the avenue recently. See here? They've put bumps on the curb cut and painted it red. What a nice shiny red it is, Mr. Schneiderman. You can't miss that now, can you? Miss it? I damn near tripped over the bumps trying to steer my way up with this fool contraption. So take it slowly then, Mr. Schneiderman. See there now, you made it up just fine. That thing's a hazard. It could kill someone. One of these days, that someone could be me. There I'd be down on the ground with my head split open like a pickled tomato. Why'd they have to go and do that anyway? Oh, now, Mr. Schneiderman, that curb cut is a good thing. The raised bumps and the bright color help disabled people who might otherwise have trouble getting out on the sidewalk. We have to thank the city for doing that, and thank the good Lord. I don't see any reason to thank anyone for this. What good does it do me? It's for the blind people, Mr. Schneiderman, the blind people. It's so that when they come along tapping their canes, they can recognize when they have made it across the street with the sidewalk. Well, it hardly helped me. Let me tell you something. Every day, everything nowadays is being done to make things easier for everyone. It isn't easy what the good Lord wants for us, Mr. Schneiderman. Didn't the good Lord himself suffer for all of our sins so that we could have a better life here on earth? An easy life, living on the good earth he gave us. What a lot of stuff and nonsense, woman. People are all just too lazy, and they keep making things easier and easier so no one has to do anything anymore. This curb cut, those automatic doors at the supermarket over there, that motion-activated dog water bowl the bank here put out front. Why does the bank got to put out a water bowl anyway? And that thing, that damn beeping thing you keep hearing all the time, that makes it so you don't even need a key to open a car anymore. Everything's supposed to be so easy now, that you hardly have to lift a finger. A woman walks by pushing a child on a tricycle by the long pole sticking up from the back of the tricycle. And those things, too. Whoever saw such a thing? Back when my Ben was small, no such thing. A kid had a tricycle and they sat on the thing and they pedaled. Nobody pushed them around with a stick stuck to the thing, making it look like a garden seeder. The kid sat on the bike, the parent walked along the side, and the kid pedaled, did some work, built up some muscle. Mr. Schneiderman, let's see these things as a blessing, signs of God's good work, working through the hands of man, all meant for us to have a better and more prosperous life. Lady, let me tell you something. When you get to my age, all you know about life is that life is short and there's not much time left in it for me. Why I should walk right into this funeral home here right now and go make a reservation. Why, Mr. Schneiderman. That's right. I can make all the arrangements myself in advance. Sir, I'm standing here in shock. Calm yourself, woman. We all know we're going to die, and there's nothing wrong with preparing. It's practically in my name, you know, Schneiderman. Schneiderman, do you know what my name means? I can't say that I do. Schneider. It's the Yiddish word for tailor. Sometime way back in the old country, back then and there under some shtetl, somewhere in German occupied, somewhere in Russian occupied. Who the hell cares? The Jews didn't care. They just lived in their own little world. Back there in what was somebody or other's Poland, my ancestors, my people were probably tailors, people who assembled things out of pieces. So why shouldn't I be a planner, prepare for my own funeral, put all the pieces in place now? So you think your family way back were tailors? Nah, probably not. When they got to Ellis Island, I hear they changed the name so that they would sound more American. Changed it to Schneiderman. The name used to be Smith. Oh, Mr. Schneiderman, you make me laugh. You're so funny. You think so? Why, yes, I tell you, you are like another Mr. Mel Brooks. Was his name Smith too? Actually, his family name was Kaminsky, Melvin Kaminsky. Can't get more Jewish than that. Not unless your name is Ebe Schneiderman, Mr. Schneiderman. Ah, nice one, woman. But truly, Mr. Schneiderman, why would you want to plan for your funeral here at this place? Because of the conveniences. But I thought you didn't care for conveniences. I don't, but everyone else does. And if I want them all to come to my funeral, I have to provide some conveniences. And this place has loads. Such as an underground parking garage, for one. Imagine if I die on a hot summer day like this one, and you've got people coming in from all over. The cousins from Long Island, Lil's family from upstate, even Sari coming in from California. She and that nitwit of a husband of hers. They'll still have to rent a car once they get to New York. And what would all these people do? They'd be driving around, or sitting double parked somewhere, waiting for the alternate side of the street parking expires, and then jumping out of their cars with barely enough time to get into the funeral. Look, this street here. The times aren't even any good. Alternate parking starts at 10:30. So either they come in for my funeral and then have to run out early to move their cars, or they find a meter somewhere. Another one of those inconvenient conveniences this brilliant city recently decided to install. Whatever happened to parking meters? Now you got to run down the block and get a little ticket and hope you're not getting a parking ticket in the meantime, and then stick the ticket in your window. Oh, I'm sure the relatives would prepare. That's the beauty of it, woman. The funeral home has a garage. A nice, big, naturally cooled underground garage. So parking problems? None. Walking in the hot sun? Not a thing. I bet they also have a nice elevator in that garage that takes you up from your car. Soft music playing. And once you're in, you don't even have to step foot out on the street again. Just head right up to where they keep the corpses. It's the perfect place. Mr. Schneiderman, I do see how you are thinking of all your relatives and wanting to give them a comfortable time when they come to say their goodbyes. But don't you notice the name of this funeral home? Terragrossa and Sons? That's a fine name. Do you think they changed it when they got to Ellis Island? Were they a family of Smiths too? Maybe we're related. Stop your foolishness now, Mr. Schneiderman. You are Jewish. This is an Italian funeral home. I'm sure this would not be the best place for you to have your funeral. Of course it would be, Cheryl. I tell you, it just takes planning. Maybe we can even have it catered. See that place back there on 81st Street? Cerritos? We passed it right after we passed that big church. The one with the statue of the lady in the long gown tucked into the big plastic rocks. Looks like a snow globe without the snow. Does your church have a lady on the rocks? I told you, Mr. Schneiderman, I'm not a Catholic. I'm a Protestant. We don't have statues in my church. Seventh-day Adventist. That's why I take my day off on Saturday. It's like your Sabbath. My Sabbath. Did I ever tell you about the friend I had out in Five Towns who used to drive her car to the synagogue on Saturdays and park 3 blocks away and walk in with her family so it looked like they had walked all the way? No, you never did tell me that one. I take a bus to services. I catch the 224 and it takes me practically right there. I walk up a couple of blocks to the church, singing a hymn, readying my stuff. It's my time with my God. I haven't been to a service since Sari's bat mitzvah. I could go. I've got plenty of time now. Every day could be Sabbath as far as I'm concerned now. Every day a day of rest. And then you go to your final rest. Why must you be thinking about that, Mr. Schneiderman? I tell you, Cheryl, it's all about the planning. Very important. This funeral home, the nearby catering hall, everything's so convenient. The rabbi can officiate, and then we could all, well, not me, of course, but everyone else can go there and celebrate my life with a wonderful meal. Veal parmesan, sausage rolls, the works, cannoli for dessert. You like cannoli? Of course you like cannoli. Everyone likes cannoli. I'm begging to differ with you, Saba. What kind of a rabbi do you think would want to officiate at such a service as that? The rooftop rabbi, of course. Did you hear? There's a young conservative rabbi, used to work for the JCC, who's hiring himself out now in the time of COVID to do outdoor services. Maybe he will be willing to come here and do my funeral on the rooftop of Torah Grossa. Highly unlikely, I am sure. The perfect place, I tell you, this is the perfect place. Herb Edelman pulling into the underground garage of Andrew Torah Grosser and Sons to attend the funeral of Abe Schneiderman, right here in his latest model Mercedes. Funny how he gave up hating the Germans once he got rich enough to buy that car. Mr. Schneiderman, have you no shame? Woman, I could say whatever I want about that man. We've been friends since we were snatching apples off the carts in the Lower East Side. Now, 80 years later, he's upped his game. Have you seen that new wife he's driving around? Please, Mr. Schneiderman, show some respect. I don't care about that. Let him do what he wants. He can do all the philandering he wants. At least he's got a wife. Oh, Mr. Schneiderman, Mr. Schneiderman. My poor Lil. Poor Mr. Schneiderman, poor dear man. Cheryl, why did they take my Lil? I didn't even get to be with her when she was dying. Yes, I know, Mr. Schneiderman. Mrs. Schneiderman did leave us so suddenly. One day she's here and then she's gone, just like that. I know. So terrible, so fast. And she didn't even have a funeral. No, she didn't. They couldn't. Just dumped her in the grave. Ben and Sari couldn't even come. And then the Zoom Shiva. How can you serve pastrami at a Zoom Shiva? She's with the good Lord now, Mr. Schneiderman. She's in a better place. When I go, it's going to be different. Yes, Mr. Schneiderman. When I go, I want a big funeral right here at Torah Grosser's. And everyone will come to say goodbye. Curtain.
Wow.